President Buhari today presented the 2021 budget where he warns that Nigeria will go into recession but is hopeful it will get back on its feet. And the opposition PDP in Ondo State today alleges that the chief returning officer for the Ondo election and the VC of OAU is an ally of Governor Akeredolu, but INEC has responded to that claim. I'll give you details of that tonight. And welcome to Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbaloye in Accra, the capital of Ondo State, where we're monitoring for you the governorship election in Ondo State, which is slated for this Saturday, 10th of October 2020. Welcome to our studio right here in Akure. And Channels Television is on the ground, a team of reporters combing the streets of Ondo State from every nook and crannies of the state, from every senatorial district and local government, to give you all the information that you need every time. So stay with us for the coverage of the Ondo governorship election. So there have been a series of activities and events leading up to Saturday, part of what will form our conversation tonight. And I have my panel already seated to discuss this with us. But before we get into that, let's tell you about what happened today at the National Assembly, where President Muhammadu Buhari has called on the National Assembly to pass the 2021 budget on time to ensure early implementation from January 2021. The president was speaking after the presentation of a 13.08 trillion budget proposal before a joint session of the National Assembly. The president also told the lawmakers he had directed supervising ministers to monitor revenue-generating agencies of government enterprises. He lamented that revenue generation remains the major challenge of his administration.
For the first time in recent years, we commenced the implementation of this year's capital budget in the first quarter. As at 15 September 2020, a total of about 1.2 trillion naira had been released for capital projects. Every federal MDA, that's ministries, departments, and agencies, has received at least 50% of its 2020 capital expenditure budget, in line with my earlier directives. Let me emphasize that revenue generation remains our major challenge.
That's the president there with the presentation of the budget. He did warn that there will be recession, but he's hopeful that Nigeria will bounce back. And so let's tell you about what happened today in Ondo State ahead of Saturday. The People's Democratic Party PDP campaign has rejected INEC's chief returning officer for the Ondo governorship election, Professor Eyitope Ogunbodede. The opposition party is alleging that the University of Ife vice chancellor is a crony of the All Progressives Congress APC candidate. It claims that Professor Ogunbodede, who according to the party also hails from Owo like the APC candidate, will not be fair in the discharge of his duty as a chief returning officer. The chairman of the Ondo PDP Campaign Council and governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, addressed a press conference today. And this is a part of what he said earlier today.
We don't want people that will go out there and just make pronouncements and then they will say the rest is go to the tribunal. No, we will not accept it. We don't want the people of Ondo State to be cheated in this election. And then if you say somebody is a crony, yeah, it's not only that they are from the same town. The technical advisor to the INEC chairman, Professor Bolade Eyila, we know that his wife has a relationship with Professor Ogunbodede. So all we're saying is please decouple all of this things. We're watching and we will say to the world, you know, the way it is.
But then, the Independent National Electoral Commission has been called out today by the Governor of Oyo State and the Chairman of the PDP Campaign Council have responded. INEC National Commissioner in charge of Ondo State, Dr. Ademola Ogunmola, today told Channels Television that they do not even know the Chief Returning Officer. Well, let me allow you to listen to what he said in reaction to the PDP's claims.
Not knowing that for the first time, because even we as INEC officials, we are yet to know who the returning officer will be. I think by tomorrow, the message will be sent to the resident electoral commissioner on who the returning officer will be for him to make contact with him. So I don't know the returning officer as at now. But beyond that, I want to assure Nigerians that INEC will not do anything that will make them to perceive the election as not being free and fair.
Okay, there you have it. You have a perspective too and some insight into what we'll be discussing tonight. If you watched yesterday, the debate between the top candidates, the governorship candidate of the APC and that of the PDP, they took to the stage yesterday in a debate that brought up a lot of issues. It was what the whole world was talking about here in Nigeria. A lot of people were talking about what they said and what they did not say. Tonight, some of these issues will come to our conversation and ahead of Saturday. What are the chances of this candidate and what are the issues on the minds and the lips of the people of Ondo State? Let's get talking, everyone, shall we? have joining me Dr. Benson Enikuomain. He's the spokesperson of the PDP Campaign Council here in Ondo State. He joins us now. And also Mr. Toby Loco, a member of the APC in Ondo State. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight.
It's a pleasure being here, Joe.
Perhaps I should get your reaction to what PDP has claimed. They said they cannot trust Professor Ogunbodede because, according to the PDP, he's an ally of your candidate.
For us, just like you have said, we should try as much as possible to have confidence in ourselves in this country. The Electoral Empire is an independent electoral commission. It is independent. So we do not think that anybody tinkers with the process. The PDP is alleging, and the allegation is clear. For us, it's an expression of apprehension of defeat. We are less concerned about it. Thank God the commissioner that is in position to provide response to the allegation has done that. For us, we are fully prepared for the election, and by the grace of God, we are winning.
What gives you that confidence?
Our achievements, the achievements of Governor Akeredolu in the last 3.5 years will speak for him. The fact speaks for itself.
So when the PDP says, INEC, tell the chief returning officer to step down, do you think INEC should do so?
Let me have you again.
When the PDP is telling INEC that Professor Ogunbodede is an ally, that's the allegation of your principal and the candidate of the APC, and they're asking that they should change the man. Do you think INEC should change Professor Ogunbodede?
As a party, we are fully prepared. We are less concerned about what is happening between INEC and the PDP. So it is, the onus is on the INEC to do what is needful. And I think they are fully ready and prepared for this election. Whether he's going to be stepping down or not, as a party, we are less concerned about it. We are prepared. So we'll leave them to struggle with the apprehension of defeat.
Dr. Enikuomain, you heard how he reacted. He said it's an apprehension of defeat. How do you react to that?
There is a principle in law which talks about fair hearing. And this principle has two strands, which is ad uterem partem, that is, you hear the other party. And then there's the other one which talks about nemo judes in causa sua, meaning you cannot be a judge in your own cause. Our courts have amplified the nemo judes in causa sua to mean that if you have any interest or likelihood of interest in any matter whatsoever, you should rescue yourself from that particular matter that is to be handled. And this also see in our business matters, if you are a director in a company and you have interest in a contract, you are not to participate in the decision making, let alone when it comes to such a sensitive matter of this nature. It has not been denied that Professor Ogumodede is from Owo. It's not denied. It has not been denied that Professor Ogumodede is the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ife, from where Akeredolu graduated. It's also not been denied that Professor Ogumodede is a close ally of our own governor, that is Arakunrin Oluwarotimi Akeredolu SAN. Now, what is the reasonable thing that INEC should do? As soon as these facts are brought to their notice, I am not saying that INEC will know this ab initio, but now these facts have been brought to their notice that Professor Ogumodede is from Owo. Owo is the hometown of Arakunrin Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. He is his ally. They are from the same university. They also attended the same university. It behoves INEC, except it has any other ulterior motive, to say, by the principle of Nemo Judas, you cannot be a judge in your cause, that what will a reasonable man think? A reasonable man will think, because this man is from Owo, anything that happens is going to work in that direction. I know Professor Ogumodede, fine character, fine gentleman, distinguished professor. But what will a reasonable man say that an Owo man is contesting? Another Owo man is the returning officer. What do you think will transpire?
Doctor,
for the purpose of that.
Just if I may, I mean, if you and I are friends and we are from the same area, do you think that will impede your the discharge of professional duty or my professional duty because of our friendship? Do you think so?
It is not on this matter. What would a reasonable person think? Anybody outside, if the announcement is made eventually in favor of Arakunrin, a reasonable man would think it was a matter discussed in Owo. In order to remove that impression, nobody is casting aspersion on the professor. INEC should be seen to do what is not only fair, but reasonably fair.
But what the INEC National Commissioner has said is, look, this man does not have anything to do with the entire, just the announcement of the result, basically.
If that be the case, they also don't lose anything if they replace him with another person. Because if that is just to announce, if it is just to announce, then go ahead, having raised this likelihood of bias, having raised affinity, having raised closeness. It's like you are going before a judge. The judge is my senior brother, and you have a matter before him. As soon as you say, look, you are the senior brother of Dr. Eniku Omeni, that judge should rescue himself. I think if INEC is not doing that, Professor Ogumodede, who has a name, to say, oh, I'm just coming to serve my nation. If these issues are being raised, because I'm a friend of Akeredolu SAN, I am from Owo, and a reasonable man will think in this direction, without calling on INEC, the professor himself should say, I'm no longer interested.
You agree to what he said?
I sympathize with my leader here for trying to create an equilibrium between approbation and reprobation. You cannot approbate and reprobate at the same time. All of us listened to him when he spoke, that the man in question is a fine character. He has integrity. Then why the fear? So the whole thing boils to the expression of apprehension of defeat.
All right, just a moment. The man that you're seeing right here in the studio with me understand the politics of Ondo State. It does look like there is going to be a lot of issues brought into this election on Saturday. The issue of the fact that Rotimi Akeredolu is from Owo, perhaps the third largest voting population or voting bloc in Ondo State. Iyita Ojegede is from Akure, the highest voting bloc in Ondo State. What does these numbers, what do they mean? We'll break it down for you, and they will be talking about the chances of their different candidates, and perhaps the third leg, which a lot of people have said have brought another dimension and dynamics into play. Don't go anywhere. The analysis just got started, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us, and let's get back to the conversation. First and foremost, there are concerns that there might be some issues relating to security because of some areas that have been identified as hotbeds and hotspots in ahead of Saturday's election. But let me get back to the conversation with my panel now. Dr. Bensi Eniko-Meyi is the spokesperson of the PDP Campaign Council, and Mr. Tob here is also a member of the APC. Thank you so much, gentlemen. What are your fears because of some of these areas? Akure is one of those areas. Ilaje, Seodo, Igbokoda. These are some of the areas that have been identified as possible trouble spot. Why do you think it is so?
Unfortunately, while we were moving around the state to acquaint the people of Ondo State with our programs in the manner of campaigns, we suffered a lot of attacks. And just like you have said, all those flashpoints played out when the campaign was going on. But I don't have any serious fear again because there is adequate security arrangement to contain security threats and breaches. So, as regards the forthcoming governorship election that is just a few days away from now, I do not have any spectacular fear that there will be violence, there will be breaches of security and all of that. As a party.
What about you, Dr. Benson?
Well, proud to the signing of the peace accord and other things that took place just about a few days ago. There was apprehension about the security challenge that may be in this state. And like you did mention, Akure was one of them, and the reason is obvious. The candidate of the PDP is from Akure. Akure is the most populous local government in the entire state. I think almost 290-something voters are from Akure. And it stands to reason that with the popularity of Itayo Jegede, something must be done to curtail him. So the kind of skirmishes coming up is the orchestrated plan by the opposition, particularly the APC, to make the people get intimidated, for them to be afraid, so that the number of voters that will come in from Akure will be dramatically reduced. But thank God that the security agents are here. I'm from Ilaje. I also do know that, you know, the deputy governorship candidate is of APC, is from Ilaje. In fact, he's from my constituency. He's from the same ward with me. I'm from Ugbo Ward 4. He's also from Ugbo Ward 4. You can appreciate what may likely happen. But this is election. It is not war. We don't need it. In Esaudo, we don't need war. All we are looking for is to cast our vote. Whoever emerges will be the candidate. There's no basis for war.
Let me go. Let's look at the permutations right now. We have at least tonight to do that. After tonight, there won't be any kind of conversations around these issues. And let me tell you that Ondo Central District has the highest proportion of registered voters. That's 41%. And the candidate of the PDP is from that senatorial district. In fact, it's from Akure. Akure specifically has a very huge voting population. Is there any fear from your party in that area?
Thank you very much. Let me quickly respond to the allegation that the APC, my party, perpetrated violence and is still intending to perpetrate violence to maybe get undue advantage in the forthcoming election. That is absolutely not true. Our achievements are there to speak for us in the last 3.5 years. We have acquainted the people with our programs, and the support is intimidating. Maybe that is what they are referring to. We have overwhelmingly garnered support. So there is no need for us to perpetrate violence. No need for violence. And then we have appealed to our members, and that is what they have done. We have conducted ourselves very well.
What about your chances in Akure and Ondo Central Senatorial District?
You have talked about number of voters and all of that. It is important, but much more important is what you have done for the people to see, to enable you get their support. And by the grace of God, even in Akure, the number will speak in our favor because our our achievements in the area of infrastructure are visible and verifiable by the people of
Your candidate is also from Owo. I mean, he's from Owo.
He's from
and
Owo.
in
Owo,
Owo,
yes.
Owo has about a third or the fourth largest voting population.
Exactly.
Would that really matter?
It matters. I have said it just now. It matters. But that is not what we are relying on. He is from Owo, and the number is high. It's not what we are really relying on. What has he done for the people to see? And the programs are there. The projects are there. They have seen them, and they are convinced that he is somebody that will continue to better their lot. And that is why we are confident. We are confident that he will win. And even in Owo, the victory will be maximum. The victory will be rousing, because they have seen what we have done in the last 3.5 years. And what will happen or play out in Owo is what will play out in the entire state. The people of Ondo State cannot wait to vote for Akeredolu for another 4 years.
Dr. Aniko Omeyin, how do you think this will pan out?
Well, you spoken the truth. Ondo Central will definitely vote en masse for Itai Ojegede. There's no doubt about it. I'd like to be very objective. I wouldn't expect that Governor Rotimi Akeredolu will come to Akure and defeat Itai Ojegede. That's not possible. It's not to think about. In a war, yes, Governor Rotimi Akeredolu should have an upper hand. That is the truth. It should ordinarily, our people should ordinarily promote their own. It should be. But when you go outside Owo, there are 6 local governments in the north. You go to their cocos. All that he has said, our infrastructures, our development. Infrastructure is not only road. What about housing? What about water? Do the people have it? Yes, I concede to Akeredolu that something in Ikare, that he completed that road. That's good. But have you gotten to Arigidi? Have you gotten to Kiagbi? Have you gotten to all other places? What are the things that he has done there? Zero. Now, let us come to the south. The south is where he and I come from. He is from Esauda, I'm from Ilaje. We used to be one local government. Before we came on air, I asked him, my brother, what happened? He said, we'll talk about it. What is it that is happening in Iparamo? There is absolutely no project. In Ilaje, there is absolutely none. I use the word absolutely none that is happening. So these things will not speak for him. They may speak for him in Owo, but across the length and breadth of Ondo State, the truth we know, Akeredolu has performed below expectations. And the people are yearning for
out of
change.
time. We're out of time. But you are laughing, so we may not be able to take more than what we have taken. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time tonight. Well, that's our show, everyone. Do stay with Channels Television. We'll bring you all that you need to know from Ondo State. It's bye from us, from Akure. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.